In this video, I will be comparing to see how comfortable these devices are to hold in the hand. So I will be comparing the Xbox Ally X, the MSI Claw 8 Plus, the Nintendo Switch 2 against the Xbox controller. So I will see how comfortable these three devices are in comparison to the Xbox controller. There are 5 categories in which I will compare them. The first one is the weight test, so I will weigh them and then I will see how light or heavy they feel in the hand. The second is the grip test, so how grippy are they in the hand, are they slippery. The third is the longer play session test, like if you play for longer sessions, are they comfortable to hold. The fourth is the joysticks and button feel test. How do the joysticks and buttons feel in the hand? And finally, the versatility test. How versatile are they? In other words, can you only play them sitting down while holding them in your lap, or can you play them standing up or even lying down? So as you guys can see, I have a digital scale here. So the first thing I'm going to do is weigh them. The Xbox controller with the 2 AA batteries inside is 289 grams. The Xbox Ally X is weighing in at 716 grams. The MSI Claw 8 AA Plus with the TPU silicone case is weighing in at 906 grams. The Nintendo Switch 2 with the Joy-Cons attached is weighing in at 539 grams. So the lightest here obviously is the Xbox controller. The second lightest is the Nintendo Switch 2. In third place is the Xbox Ally X, and the heaviest is obviously the 8-inch MSI Claw 8 AA Plus. But it's not just about how much they weigh, it's how good they feel in the hand. So holding the Xbox controller first, I mean obviously this is designed as a controller only, and the Xbox controllers have been around for a long time, so they have maximized the comfort and the grip and everything else. So yeah, very nice to hold in the hand, very comfortable, you know, feels nice and light. So, you know, amazing comfort for the Xbox controller. Now I will go ahead and see how the Xbox ROG Ally X controller feels like in the hand. To be honest with you, like considering how much it actually weighs, when you hold the handheld in your hand, the Xbox Ally X actually feels lighter than it should. Because of the handles and the way they've designed it, you know, with most of the weight not being directly in the center but spread all around, it actually feels quite light. You know, feels very light. It's hard to describe, but once you hold this in your hand, trust me, it feels lighter than it actually is. The MSI Claw 8, you know, the big boy, this one also doesn't feel bad in the hand. It's actually quite comfortable, at least to me, because I've got bigger hands, and if you have bigger hands, a bigger device like this will feel more comfortable compared to someone who has smaller hands. So to me personally, I have no problems with regards to the comfort of the Claw 8. However, it does feel a little bit heavier than the Xbox Ally X. The Nintendo Switch 2, to be honest with you, even though it's the lightest handheld out of all these three, it doesn't actually feel the lightest, and that's because most of the weight of the Switch 2 is distributed towards the center, because the weight is inside the tablet and not in the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons themselves are quite light, so holding it like this with the Joy-Cons attached, the Switch 2 feels a bit heavier than the Xbox ROG Ally X. So the win for the weight category goes to the Xbox Ally X, simply because it has these amazing handles and it feels the lightest in the hand. Second is the grip test. So first of all, holding the Xbox controller, it feels very nice, very grippy. You know, you got the handles with some nice curves here and a nice texture feel. So yeah, very grippy. It doesn't feel slippery at all. The Xbox Ally X also has similar handles to the Xbox controller. You got some nice curves, and you know, it comes out quite a bit actually, as you guys can see. So holding it in your hand, not exactly like the Xbox controller, because the Xbox controller handles come to the side, whereas this one is coming down more in a straight fashion. But in terms of the grip, very grippy. I can hold it even in one hand. I can even walk around with it like this. So yeah, a very good grip on the Xbox Ally X. The MSI Claw 8 AI is also nice to hold in the hand. In terms of the grip, the handles doesn't come out as much as on the Xbox controllers and the Xbox Ally X. However, it's good enough, at least in my opinion. I played with this device for quite a while, and to be honest with you, I had no problems at all. However, if you compare them to the Xbox and the Xbox Ally X handheld, it doesn't feel as grippy, and holding it in one hand, it does feel like it might slip. So with the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, you have to be careful when you're holding it in one hand, because it's not as grippy as the other two. However, overall, it's not bad. The Nintendo Switch 2, now it does not have any curves, it's all flat. So to be honest with you, like, it doesn't really have a very good grip. Now comparing it to the other two handhelds, this one has the worst grip and feels the least comfortable. So the win for the grip category obviously goes to the Xbox Ally X, simply because of how comfortable these handles are and how grippy they actually are to hold in the hand. So yeah, very good design on the Xbox Ally X. The third category is the longer play session test. So if you play for long hours, you know, for longer play sessions, which one is the most comfortable? Now, holding the Xbox controller, this one is designed to be, you know, held in the hand for hours and hours. And yes, this is probably, you know, one of the most comfortable controllers you can use in the hand. Now, how does this compare to the handhelds? So the Xbox ROG Ally X, this one is, you know, as the name suggests, Xbox is designed with the Xbox controller in mind. And having used this device for a few weeks now, I can tell you it's the most, well, one of the most comfortable devices you can use for longer play sessions, simply because of how grippy the handles are and the fact that it does not feel that heavy in the hand. The Claw 8 is the heaviest of all of these handhelds and is one of the heaviest handhelds you can get. But personally, I never really had any big problems with regards to holding this device in my hand. However, for some of you out there, you might find this a bit on the heavy side. So for longer play sessions, this may not be the best handheld to get. The Switch 2 is the lightest handheld. However, like I said, it doesn't actually feel that light. It actually feels heavier than the ROG Xbox Ally X and maybe even the Claw 8, simply because the weight distribution is mostly in the center. So when you hold it, it doesn't feel very light. Comparing this to the original Switch, which was, I mean, the Switch OLED, which was very light. But this one is heavier and, to be honest with you, not very comfortable when it comes to longer play sessions. However, you can remove the Joy-Cons, which I will talk about later. So with the Joy-Cons removed, then of course, yeah, this becomes very comfortable. But as it is, the win has to go to the ROG Xbox Ally X, simply because it feels very light in the hand, very good grips, and very suitable for longer play sessions. The fourth category is the joysticks and button feel test. So holding the Xbox controller in my hand, the joysticks feel very nice. The buttons are quite good. The D-pad is not so bad. Everything feels like it should on a controller. So yeah, very good joysticks and buttons on the Xbox controller. Now comparing this to the ROG Xbox Ally X, to be honest with you, I prefer holding this than the Xbox controller in my hand. You know, to me personally, this handheld, because my hands are further apart, it actually feels more comfortable. And the joysticks, to me personally, actually feels nicer than the Xbox controller, They have slightly more resistance, and yeah, all the buttons feel really good. The D-pad is, as you guys can see, slightly differently shaped than the Xbox controller, which, to be honest with you, now that I looked at it, it's actually quite similar to the Claw 8 D-pad. So the Claw 8 D-pad looks like it was designed with the Xbox controller in mind. A very similar shape. But yeah, with regards to the joysticks and button feel test, the Xbox Ally X feels really good in the hand. Everything is very easily reachable. The Claw 8, the joysticks feel really nice, similar D-pad to the Xbox controller. The buttons feel really good. So overall, very nice joysticks and buttons on the Claw 8. The Nintendo Switch 2 has the worst D-pad I've ever used. This is almost unusable in fighting games because these individual buttons is very hard to like do combos in Street Fighter, and yeah, very bad design on the Switch 2. With regards to the joysticks, they're not so bad. They're not full-size joysticks like on the other two handhelds, so they're quite limited movement here, but they're not so bad. The buttons are okay. They are on the quiet side, which I really like. The other two handhelds, especially the Xbox Ally X, the buttons are very clicky, but this one, it doesn't really make that much of a noise, so you know, it's quite good in that regard. The Xbox Ally X has the clickiest buttons I've ever used. Look at how loud these are. It's slightly louder than the Xbox controller, so the buttons on the Claw 8 are actually not that loud. Maybe a bit, just a bit louder than the Switch 2. But the overall winner here is the Xbox Ally X controller, not just because of the joysticks having slightly more resistance, and not just because of the grips, but because on the Xbox Ally X you get some of the best haptic feedback I've ever seen in a handheld. Every time you shoot, or you know, there is something happening in the video game, you actually feel everything in this handheld. The haptic feedback is really good. The D-pad also is, dare I say, even better than the Xbox controller. I just really like this D-pad because it's not protruding on the sides, so you can actually, you know, pull off moves if you need to, like in Street Fighter like this. And yeah, all the different directions are easily pressed, so a very good D-pad, probably the best out of all of these handhelds. And yeah, so overall the winner here is easily the Xbox ROG Ally X. The fifth and final test is the versatility test. You know, how versatile are these handhelds? The Xbox Ally X, the Claw 8, and obviously the Xbox controller, they can only be used in handheld mode, and what I mean is you cannot remove the Joy-Cons, unlike the Switch 2, which has removable Joy-Cons. So with the Switch 2 you also get the kickstand thingy. So with the kickstand thingy you can place it in many different angles, which is great. And if you place it in the table like this with the kickstand, you can remove the Joy-Cons, and with the Joy-Cons removed you can very comfortably hold them in your hand in any position and basically, you know, control the Switch 2 tablet with the Joy-Cons in your hand. Another great thing about the Joy-Cons is that they're very light and actually very comfortable to hold individually. Instead of holding them in handheld mode, holding them individually in your hand like this, they're actually way more comfortable. And another good advantage of this is that, you know, I can put these in my pocket and play the game. So the options you get with these Joy-Cons is limitless. I mean, I can lie on the bed, even on the side, and I can play a video game with a tablet in front of me. In terms of versatility, the win easily goes to the Nintendo Switch 2, simply because of the kickstand and the amazing removable Joy-Cons. So overall, in my opinion, the winner is the ROG Xbox Ally X. However, this is just my personal opinion, Some of you might find the Switch 2 more comfortable, some of you might find the Claw 8 more comfortable. This is just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear your thoughts with regards to, the comfort of these handhelds. Maybe you own a different handheld, so let me know in the comments below which handheld you own and how comfortable do you think it is. But with regards to these three handhelds, in my opinion, this is definitely the best, especially because of the grips they've decided to include with this. However, with that being said, I don't think this was the best choice to include these grips built in. I would have preferred a smaller device without the grips, but then they could have included the grips as an accessory, so that way if I did not want the grips and I wanted a more portable device, I could just play it like the original ROG Ally and the original ROG Ally X. So having these built in, although it gives you more comfort, the disadvantage is that it is now a bigger and bulkier device. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the choice, what the Xbox decided to do with the ROG Ally. Do you think it was a good move, or do you think it's just a gimmick? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. So make sure you guys like, subscribe and comment down below and let me know which one you guys think should have been the winner. Is the Xbox Ally X the right choice, or should I have chosen the Claw 8 or maybe even the Switch 2? So let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.